Okay, so today we have a Husqvarna push mower, and not to get too into the details too deeply, but if you give me just a second, got to explain what's going on with this. So the customer said it's surging and it's hard to start. He tells me he's put a carburetor on it. So I tried to start it, wouldn't start, so I put some starting fluid in it. It started and it ran just fine, and then it would start. No, it wouldn't, excuse me. Then it wouldn't start again. It was hard to start, but it would surge when it was running, just like he said. So what I noticed was there was a gasket that was on backwards, and it wasn't allowing the carburetor to choke. It was sucking in too much air. So I changed the gasket back, took the carburetor, put the gasket back to where it was supposed to be, and it was still hard to start. Not initially. Initially it started just fine, but the next morning I got up, tried to start it, and it took 10 pulls to start. I let it sit for a while, cool off again, and it took 10 pulls to start. Let it cool off and tried to start again. It took 6 pulls. Well, I thought maybe I'll look at spark plug, just try to figure out what's going on. Why is it so hard to start? Initially, right here, I noticed gas was dripping. So I decided that he's probably opened up the carburetor, trying to figure out why it wouldn't start easily. So instead of me trying to figure out what he's done, I'm just going to replace the carburetor. So it's not too hard, although it is a Honda engine, so they make it a little bit more complicated than most. Okay, so what's going to happen is now the whole assembly is just going to fall apart in your hands. Honda is really difficult at this. Makes it really difficult. So as you can see, you got all these pieces in behind it that you got to kind of keep track of. Now this is the gasket back here that he had on backwards. He had it like this, and it just didn't fit. If you look, it's just not fitting correctly. You can even see that the hole isn't lined up inside. So you turn it over and then it fits correctly. So that doesn't allow for air to come in. Okay, I was going to shut it off, but it has a shut-off valve right here, so I'm not going to worry about shutting off the gas. So he didn't have that hose clamp on correctly. And then we'll take off the linkage, take the spring out, and now we're done. So now we'll get the new carburetor. Now the trick to this new carburetor is to put your linkage on first, and then worry about putting all the pieces on. If you try to put the pieces on first, you may never get it. Now the wire, the spring, the reason the spring is on this is, as I've said before in other videos, it's to take out the slop in the linkage. It holds everything tight. Okay, so once you have that, then you can start putting your pieces together. Okay, he's tore this gasket here, so we're going to replace it. You want to make sure you get all the holes lined up. There's a third hole there. And then we're going to start assembling. So you hold the carburetor and you put your first bolt in like that. Okay, once you have both bolts in, then you can start piecing it together one at a time. So now we have a gasket to put on. I'm trying to do this so you can see it on camera. Then we have the choke assembly. And that gasket he had on backwards. Well, that was a huge improvement. With one pull it didn't do anything, second pull it started to do something, and the third pull it finally fired up. My thinking is the fuel bowl, the carburetor fuel bowl, hadn't had time to fill up yet, so when I was pulling it that first time it had to fill it up. So it's of course I'll test it again later to make sure it still fires up. We'll also make sure that no gas is leaking. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to a video where I was working on something. So I hope this video helps you maintain your equipment under the shade tree. Thanks for watching.